Hey guys, Mike here. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to never be the worst player in any PF party or any static that you join. I know a lot of people probably get anxiety when raiding because they're afraid of messing up and possibly being the worst, and they just don't have confidence when they raid. But this video, I'm going to show you how to be super confident before you go into raid for whatever fight you're going to do. So let's just get right into it. So what you want to do first is go into windowed mode for your game like I have here. And then you're going to want to put all your hotbars in the top left corner, like how I got here. Just all the buttons I'm going to press. And you can't see it right now, but I also put enhancements here. So like my buffs, like when I get Rampart or any of my mitigations or just any buffs I have, I put them here. And you're going to see why I do this in a sec. Then the next thing you do is you go into sound settings. In the sound configuration, you just turn off background music. You can see I muted the background music. So there's no background music playing. All that's playing is just sound effects. All right, after you do that, then, because you're in windowed mode, you're going to drag your game over here and you're going to load a POV of the fight that you want to do. So in this case, I have Uwu and I have Off-Tank. Right now I have a Dark Knight here, and even though I'm going to do Paladin, it doesn't really matter. Just find the role of the fight that you want to do. So right now I have Uwu. And let's say I'm not confident in Garuda Phase. So I'm just going to open this POV and just play along with it. This is basically a poor man's simulation. So let's just get right into it. Let's try it out. And I'll point out details and pause the video as I deem necessary. So I'm just hitting this training dummy in sync with the fight. All right. Countdown, sprint. Sprint to the boss. 1, 2. Move. Oak, 1 GCD, Reprisal, Rampart, AoE, AoE, AoE. Alright, I'm gonna pause right here. Now you can see what I'm doing, right? I'm basically simulating the fight without actually going into instance. And the beauty about doing this is you can do it whenever you want. You don't have to wait in PF for 4 hours for an ultimate party to prog a phase in the fight. You just do it on your own. You're essentially playing it like a single player game. Now, obviously this is not perfect. The perfect situation is you're actually in the instance and you're doing it, but there's so much you can gain from doing this. For instance, I can see when I can make sure I'm popping my defensive cooldowns at the right time. And, by looking at when my enhancements and see if they're still up, like if I'm popping a Rampart early, I can see if it's still up when the actual attack goes out. And again, that's not perfect because obviously you want to check the logs to see if your buffs actually caught the enemy's attack. But still, it gives you a good idea for the timing of and the pace of the fight, right? So you know when you're popping what GCDs off when you're popping what OGCDs off when, and it just gives you that muscle memory to practice. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, if you're not really an instance, how can you practice the movement? And that's a good point because you actually can't, because if you're just hitting a training dummy and you accidentally move too far from the training dummy, then your GCDs won't fire, right? So the trick is to make callouts for all the movements, right? So you saw, like, after I did the first 2 or the first 3 GCDs, I called out a movement to move to the west, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm not going to actually do it with my thumbstick where I'm going to move away from the training dummy, that's going to screw it up. So that's where all the movements in the fight you make callouts for, right? And when you get really good with the fight, you can start making callouts for other people. Like you can make callouts for when the melee is supposed to cleanse their stacks in the for the friction part of Garuda fight. You start to master like every aspect of the fight and the timings and what people have to do when. And when you do this, you can actually start to learn different parts of the fight, other responsibilities. So when you actually go into the fight and people are making mistakes, you can start calling people out. Like, why are you melee didn't cleanse properly, or we didn't get enough stats on the frictions, or just whatever mechanic. And that actually, you're not being a dick when you do that. You're actually trying to help the party, right? Like if there's not enough mitigation on frictions, then you can call it out. Because once you start to master your own role, you can start to expand out and start to see what other people are doing wrong and try to correct those mistakes and just try to help the party so that the party can make more prog, right? So this is good for like if you're in a static, because if you're the static leader and you can practice the fight ahead of time. That way, like you can help out your static mates out if they're struggling, which is what a good leader should do, anyways, right? Anyways, this is how I actually progged a lot of DSR. Like I actually understand most of the fight of DSR, even though I never really got to phase 6 or phase 7 yet. But I actually have some muscle memory built in for phase 6 and phase 7. And the nice thing too is because you can just pause and reset the video or the POV whenever you want, you can just redo, like say I'm stuck on phase 5 for DSR and I just want to keep practicing. I can just rewind the video and just keep resetting to where my GCD is at that point at the start of the fight, which is usually the first GCD, like Fast Blade for Paladin. And I can just keep doing it over and over and over until I'm confident in that phase. I'm confident with all the timings, I'm confident with all the mitigations, I'm confident with all the movements for all the trio mechanics, and you're just trying to avoid getting killed. It's another good way to practice the timings of trio mechanics. Obviously, you can go into XIV Sim and practice the trio mechanics that way. That's probably a better way to practice trio mechanics because they're purely downtime. But again, like in the whole context and the whole timeline of the fight, I find this method here is a good way to practice the fight, even though it is trio mechanics. Because like I said, even though it's purely movement for trio mechanics, you can still, like sometimes you still need to pop cooldowns during trio mechanics. Like for example, phase 2 DSR, I need to pop Rampart and Sheltron to take the tank busters for the first trio. Additionally, I can call out the movements, for example, when to move where, because obviously you don't want to move too early for certain things or you're going to get killed. So like if I call out when to move, like go, then move here, then pop Rampart here, then pop Sheltron here, then pop Intervention on my co-tank here. You not only build the muscle memory with the controller, like I play on controller, but you can also get a feel for the timings. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and hope this helps you a little bit become more confident in raiding, and thanks for watching.